streaming into the shanty towns around the great commercial and industrial metropolitan centers of the world, are also characterized by their non-synchronicity, their inability to be incorporated into the hypermodern cycle of capital accumulation. Moreover, all of these strata too are subject to a growing nostalgia for the past, a longing for community, including the blue-collar communities and their institutional networks, which were one of the features of the social landscape of capitalism earlier in the 20th century. However, no matter how powerful this nostalgia for past community becomes, it cannot be satisfied. The organic communities of the past cannot be recreated, their destruction by capital is irreversible. At the same time, the path to a future gemein, to which the cultural material and longings embodied in the non-synchronous classes and strata can make a signal contribution, according to Bloch, remains obstructed by the power of capital. So long as this is the case, the genuine longing for community of masses of people, and especially the nostalgia for past communities especially felt by the non-synchronous strata and classes, including the newly non-synchronous elements which I have just argued must be added to them, leaves them exposed to the lure of a pure community ideologically constructed by capital itself. In place of real organic and communal bonds, in such an ideologically constructed pure community, a racial, ethnic, or religious identification is merely superimposed on the existing condition of atomization in which the mass of the population finds itself. In addition to providing some gratification for the longing for community animating broad strata of the population, such a pure community can also provide an ideological bond which ties the bulk of the population to the capitalist state on the basis of the race, ethnicity, or religion which it shares with the ruling class. This latter is extremely important to capital, because the atomization which it has brought about not only leaves the mass of humanity bereft, but also leaves the ruling class itself vulnerable because it lacks any basis upon which it can mobilize the population, physically or ideologically. The basis upon which such a pure community is constituted, race, nationality, religion, even a categorization by class in the Stalinist world, necessarily means the exclusion of those categories of the population which do not conform to the criteria for inclusion, the embodiments of alterity. Even while they inhabit the same geographical space as the members of the pure community, those excluded, the races on the other side of the biological continuum, to use Foucauldian terminology, the other, become alien elements within an otherwise homogeneous world of the pure community. As a threat to its very existence, the role of this other is to become the scapegoat for the inability of the pure community to provide authentic communal bonds between people, for its abject failure to overcome the alienation that is a hallmark of a reified world. The Jew in Nazi Germany, the Kulak in Stalinist Russia, the Tutsi in Rwanda, Muslims in Bosnia, blacks in the US, the Albanian or the Serb in Kosovo, the Arab in France, the Turk in contemporary Germany, the Baha'i in Iran, for example, become the embodiment of alterity, and the target against which the hatred of the members of the pure community is directed. The more crisis-ridden a society becomes, the greater the need to find an appropriate scapegoat, the more urgent the need for mass mobilization behind the integral state, the more imperious the need to focus rage against the other. In an extreme situation of social crisis and political turmoil, the demonization and victimization of the other can lead to his mass murder. In the absence of a working class conscious of its historic task and possibilities, this hatred of alterity which permits capital to mobilize the population in defense of the pure community, can become its own impetus to genocide. The imminent tendencies of the capitalist mode of production which propel it towards a catastrophic economic crisis also drive it towards mass murder and genocide. In that sense, the death world, and the prospect of an end. It cannot be separated from the continued existence of humanity's subordination to the law of value. Reification, the overmanned world, biopolitics, state racism, the constitution of a pure community. Directed against alterity, each of them features of the economic and ideological topography of the real domination of capital, create the possibility and the need for genocide. We should have no doubt that the survival of capitalism into this new millennium will entail more and more frequent recourse to mass murder. McIntosh, from Internationalist Perspective No. 36, Spring 2000. References Elaine Finkielkraut, The Future of a Negation, Reflections on the Question of Genocide, Lincoln and London, University of Nebraska Press, 1998, p. 28. Georg Lukács, History and Class. Consciousness, Studies in Marxist Dialectics, Cambridge, Massachusetts, The MIT Press, 1971. p. 85. C. Hannah Arendt, Eichmann in Jerusalem, a report on the banality of evil. Harmondsworth, England, Penguin Books, 1977. Gunther Enders, Die Antiquaire der Menschen. Band 2, Über die Zerstörung des Lebens im Zeitalter der dritten industriellen Revolution, München. Verlag C.H. Beck, 1986, p. 26, and Anders, Die Antiquaire der Menschen, über die Zeitalter der zweiten industriellen Revolution, München, Verlag C.H. Beck, 1961, p. 243. Michel Foucault, Fair. Vivre et laisser mourir, La naissance du racisme, Les temps modernes, 535, Février 1991, pp. 37-38. Michel Foucault, The History of Sexuality, Volume I, An Introduction, New York, Vintage Books, 1980. p. 139. Antonio Gramsci, Selections from the Prison Notebooks, New York, International Publishers. 1971, Passim. C. Ernst Bloch, Heritage of Our Times, Berkeley and Los Angeles, University of California Press, 1991, especially pp. 97-148.